The laughter began the moment the wooden tower rose above the tree line. It was tall, narrow, and strange, standing beside a modest cabin like something out of a forgotten century. People slowed their trucks just to stare. Some shook their heads. Others laughed openly, calling it ridiculous, unnecessary, even disgusting. A meat tower, they joked, as if the words alone were enough to dismiss the woman who built it. They had no idea that by the time summer arrived, when store shelves were bare and freezers failed, that same tower would quietly prove them all wrong. Before the story continues, if you believe in the silent hero, in second chances, and in people who prepare quietly while the world laughs, please take a moment to like this video, comment, share it with someone who values resilience, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps these powerful stories reach the hearts that need them. Her name was Eleanor Whitaker, a 50-year-old woman living on the edge of a small rural town in Wyoming. She wasn't loud, popular, or particularly noticeable. Most people knew her only as the widow who kept to herself, the woman who wore old coats and worked with her hands until dusk. Years earlier, Eleanor had lived a different life. She and her husband, Thomas, had run a small family farm, raising pigs, curing meat, and living by rhythms older than modern convenience. Thomas believed deeply in self-reliance, in food preservation, in preparing for times when supply chains broke and winters stretched longer than expected. When Thomas passed away suddenly from a heart condition, Eleanor's world collapsed inward. The farm was sold piece by piece to cover debts. Friends faded. The town moved on. Eleanor downsized to a small cabin on inherited land, taking with her only what mattered: knowledge, patience, and a deep respect for survival. She had learned long ago that hunger didn't announce itself loudly. It crept in quietly when people assumed tomorrow would always look like yesterday. That winter, rumors spread about shortages. Fuel prices climbed. Delivery trucks came less often. Stores ran out of basics faster than usual. People complained, but few changed their habits. Eleanor did something different. She remembered Thomas's methods, the old Appalachian and Scandinavian techniques of air-curing meat in cold, dry climates. She remembered the way cured bacon could last months without refrigeration if done correctly. So she built the tower. The structure was simple but intentional. Tall enough to stay cold, narrow enough to control airflow, slatted to allow wind to pass through while keeping animals out. Inside, hooks and beams held slabs of pork coated carefully in salt and spice. It wasn't pretty, and it certainly wasn't modern. When neighbors asked why she didn't just buy a freezer like everyone else, Eleanor smiled politely and kept working. The mocking grew louder as the tower neared completion. People joked that she was building a shrine to bacon. Some said it would rot. Others claimed she'd attract bears or make herself sick. A few suggested grief had made her cling to outdated ideas. Eleanor heard every word. She had learned not to defend herself against people who confused unfamiliar with foolish. The first months passed quietly. Winter deepened, and the meat cured slowly, steadily, protected by cold air and careful timing. Eleanor checked the tower every morning, adjusting vents, brushing off frost, trusting methods proven long before electricity existed. The laughter faded into disinterest as people turned back to their routines. Then spring came early and rough. A powerful storm swept through the region, knocking out power lines across multiple counties. Freezers shut down. Meat spoiled. People tried to cook what they could, but supplies dwindled quickly. Just as repairs began, a heat wave followed, unusual and relentless. Power grids struggled. Rolling blackouts became common. Stores rationed meat. Prices doubled, then tripled. Inside Eleanor's meat tower, the bacon hung untouched. The structure did exactly what it was built to do. Cool air circulated naturally. The cured meat remained firm, rich, and preserved. While others scrambled for ice and worried about spoilage, Eleanor sliced thin strips of bacon, cooked carefully, and ate without fear. Word traveled fast in small towns. At first, people didn't believe it. Then they smelled it. The unmistakable aroma drifted through the trees one evening, rich and comforting, a reminder of something people were beginning to miss. One neighbor stopped by under the excuse of casual conversation. Another followed days later. They asked questions. They laughed less. By early summer, shelves were still inconsistent, and meat was expensive or unavailable. That was when people began coming not to joke, but to ask. Ask how she did it. Ask if it was safe. Ask if she had any extra. Eleanor never bragged. She never reminded them of the laughter. She shared knowledge freely and food carefully. She traded bacon for vegetables, for repairs, for help chopping wood. She taught others how to build smaller versions of the tower, how to cure meat safely, how to think beyond convenience. The town changed slowly. People stopped assuming technology would always save them. They started preparing together, learning from methods once dismissed as outdated. Children listened. Elders nodded knowingly. What began as mockery turned into respect, then gratitude. By late summer, when temperatures soared and supply trucks were still unreliable, Eleanor's bacon remained perfectly preserved. The meat tower became a symbol not of eccentricity, but of wisdom earned through hardship and humility. Eleanor often sat outside in the evenings, watching the sun dip behind the hills, thinking of Thomas. She imagined him smiling quietly, proud not of being right, but of being prepared. She understood now that survival wasn't about proving others wrong. It was about being ready when others weren't. Near the end of this story, if it touched your heart, if it reminded you that quiet preparation and old knowledge still matter, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who believes in resilience, and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement helps stories like this reach people who need them. Before the ending, we have a special request for you. Please comment bacon if you believe wisdom is often laughed at before respected, or share a time when someone underestimated you until your preparation made the difference. Because sometimes the things people laugh at today are the very things that will carry us through tomorrow.